I am limber like a wet noodle. For the past 4 weeks, I have been doing about a 30-minute yoga session every single day. I've been reviewing an entire year's worth of yoga sessions that we've put together for a training app that we did with Helen Faliveno, HMF Yoga on YouTube. She produced all of the guided yoga sessions. I went through all of the guided yoga sessions to just be a second set of eyes before they actually went into the app. And there were some really interesting things that happened. Very much not things that you would think when you say like, ooh, I'm gonna take up yoga and see if it helps for triathlon. So today, once I get out of my PJs, we're gonna go through that. Let's start out with why yoga? Like, why would you even consider getting a little bit more flexible and mobile? Well, for this, I went to NCBI and started looking at studies. One study called Effects of Brief Yoga Exercises and Motivational Preparatory Interventions in Distance Runners, Results of a Controlled Trial, wanted to see if yoga would help 1 mile runners. Well, what they ended up finding out was there were 3 groups, one that did nothing, one that did yoga, and then one that just had people yell at them before the second mile time trial that they did. And yeah, yoga did better than the runners who did nothing, but it didn't even do as well as coaches just screaming at you. So not a really big sales point for yoga right there. But this was just one yoga session. 1 week they did the run, next week they came back, did some yoga or got yelled at and did the run after. But it's not actually changing how flexible you are. The next one, the impact of 10 weeks of yoga practice on flexibility and the balance of college athletes. And what this found was that 10 weeks of yoga training did make the athletes in that study actually more flexible. All of their mobility measures ended up going up. So yeah, yoga improves flexibility, of course. But does it actually improve running performance? Well, we start getting a little bit more nitty gritty and seeing if flexibility improves running performance. And one study called Chronic Stretching and Running Economy addressed the thought that you actually don't want to be flexible to perform well in running. And this actually turned that thought on its head when it found that after 10 weeks, the stretching group exhibited a significant increase in sit and reach, while non-stretching group experienced no significant change. So the stretching group got a little bit more flexible. However, neither the stretching group or the control group exhibited a significant change in O2 cost for the submaximal run. It is concluded, therefore, that a chronic stretching program does not necessarily negatively influence running economy. So that idea of like, you want to be wound tight and be springy isn't actually the case for runners. So then why even think about it if it's not clear if it's gonna help? Well, I look at what we're doing with our training app, and what I want to recommend for endurance athletes isn't just getting you to be the best athlete you wanna be. I want you to be the best person that you wanna be. I want you to use endurance sports to be a better person. And if you just go through endurance training without any of the mobility training, you're gonna get inflexible, you're gonna lose a lot of mobility, you're gonna get really, really good at being a diesel engine and having a healthy heart and lungs, but everything else tends to be sacrificed. Running tends to really make us quite stiff and not feel very good. And what does that result in down the road? Well, this is the key study that I found about 9 months ago. It really changed my thought pattern on how I think about strength, mobility, mixing all of that in with endurance training. And it's called Falls in Older Persons, Risk Factors and Prevention. And what this study found is one of the major things that happen to us when we get older that takes us out of being healthy and living a long, fruitful life is a major amount of time away from activity caused by either illness or injury. So if you get sick or injured when you're 40, 50, 60, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to come back. The factors in this study were found that it was intrinsic factors such as unstable joints, muscle weakness, unreliable postural reflexes, so lack of mobility and agility. This failure is generally due to factors intrinsic to the individual. It's our fault that we're falling because of a loss of sensory function, impaired central processing, and muscle weakness, lack of stability, balance, and agility. So if all you want to do is just be a good endurance athlete, and it might be to the detriment of your overall long-term well-being, by all means, ignore strength and mobility. But if you want to be a good athlete for the rest of your life and ensure against the likelihood of major illness or injury taking you out of the game that you can't really come back from, then incorporate strength and mobility. Because here's what happens when you ignore strength and mobility. All right, with the help of our lovely assistant NTK, I'll show you the areas that tend to end up going a little bit wonky with endurance athletes. So start with the hips. With us being mostly desk workers, like the vast majority of endurance athletes are desk workers, we sit in this position, shortens our hips. Being triathletes, we tend to scrunch over in the arrow position, shortening up the hips, and when something gets tight here, the opposing muscle, the badonkadonk, it ends up tending to go to sleep. That is a really big determinant of injuries. If you don't have glutes that can activate and stabilize you when you run, up, right please, you are going to have a lot of injuries. If you speak to any physiotherapist, inactive glutes, that is a big cause of injuries. Next, similar sort of thing, the chest. The chest tends to get tight because again, we are working at a desk, we are in the arrow position, we are running, everything is very tight. So with this getting tight here, this stabilizer muscles, everything back here will tend to be a little bit less active. Now, as a result of that, what will happen is that T-spine rotation, your ability to move your shoulders back and forth with your hips staying stationary, it tends to go away. Your hips are still moving. Try to move your...
Oh man, that's hard.
So you can only move like 2 inches. Now, that's what happened to me when I actually started golfing. I tried to start twisting, and again, I got an injury that took me out of working out for probably 2 weeks, working out entirely, golfing probably 3 months. And these are things that just start building up as you get older and taking you out of the game. I'm 38 right now. What if I had that injury when I was 52 or 58? I might be out for a long, long time. So the T-spine rotation needs to be worked on. You're just getting wiggly.
I don't know what's going on.
And then we don't really do any balancing movements. We are going to try a little test here.
Oh no.
Lift your knee up to hip height. Look forward. Close your eyes. Oh, she's actually doing pretty good. Most endurance athletes are gonna have a really, really hard time with this.
Wait, on this side.
Oh,
No,
there we
not-
go. And that is a really basic thing. Think about your aunts, your uncles, people who have had a broken hip or a broken knee, like strained knee, torn cartilage. Often it happens by getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom in the dark, hit the corner of the bed, and boom, you go over because you don't have the stability to actually brace yourself. And all we do is cage our feet as endurance athletes, and we stay in this one single plane going forward and back all the time. In my opinion, a healthy human and a healthy you is a healthy athlete. You're going to be able to perform better for a longer period of time, meaning that your ceiling of what your performance level is will just keep going up and up because you're not getting those instances of being taken out of the game, and your life is going to be a lot better long term. So we ended up hiring Helen Faliveno, who runs HMF Yoga, the YouTube channel, to create a whole bunch of guided yoga workouts that are being put into our app. So I had to go through all of them over the course of about 4 weeks, doing one 30-minute session every single day for 4 weeks. I missed a couple of days here and there, but I had a really big focus on mobility. And these 6 things were the big things that I found. First, it's a workout. Even though you might, as an endurance athlete, be like, well, it's just yoga, I can just add it in. No, it actually does take a fair amount out of you. So you can't just take your current plan and then lump yoga on top. Yoga has to be put into your plan in the same way that you would add in strength training. It needs to be factored in for your total training load and your total training time, your total training balance, and on the right days. In addition to that, it should be designed in such a way that it isn't competing with the intensity of all of your different workouts. The second thing that I found when I started doing yoga in general, we get lots of workouts. We have swim, bike, run, trail workouts, strength workouts. Intensity is not something that we really need more of as endurance athletes. So I started actually gravitating much more towards actually feeling good from very gentle workouts. floor-based workouts, yin-style workouts, which is really just lying in a certain pose and holding it and just waiting minutes upon minutes upon minutes for the muscles to release and let go. It's kind of like taking a nap in a stretch. Third thing is that I felt better, a lot better. All the little, like nicks and niggles, and you're like, just a little bit sore at the end of the day, or just feeling a little bit beat down. I didn't feel that a whole lot. Really just much more comfortable throughout the day. A fourth thing you might be wondering is related to performance. I recovered faster, a lot faster. As opposed to having all of those nicks and niggles, I was kind of just knocking off workouts one after the other. Now granted, I'm not in the midst of a race season. I'll get to how you deal with yoga during a race season, but I just tended to absorb the workouts a lot better. So this is similar to what happens when you start researching massage. If you look into all of the different modalities of recovery, massage is really one of the only ones that is statistically shown to be very beneficial. People report feeling less fatigued and less sore when they get frequent massage. But when you dig into the data, the reason for that is likely not because of the actual massage, but it seems to be because it's time that you actually get to lower your cortisol, your stress levels just kind of come down, and that lower stress level, that lowered cortisol, that increased parasympathetic state where you're not in flight or fight, it allows your body to start recovering a lot better. That's kind of the feeling that I was getting throughout doing all of these yoga sessions, that it was very rejuvenating. It seemed to almost like reset me, and I would come out of a 30-minute yoga session in the same way that I would feel coming out of a massage. Just refreshed, and the mind was clear again and didn't feel like this. Fifth thing is that yoga for endurance athletes, in my opinion, is different than big box yoga. As opposed to having these long flows and these hour-long sessions, these sessions that are actual literal workouts, which we don't need more of, the yoga that we designed with Helen was, like I say, very floor-based. It's very gentle, very complementary. It also targets all of those different muscles, the badonkadonk, the chest. While yoga in general does promote flexibility, yoga for endurance athletes is specifically targeting all of the areas that we know that 80 to 90% of us are going to have to address. So why not design those workouts, those yoga sessions in a way that it addresses the exact things that we know we need to address? The final thing is that even though I'm talking about all of the good things involved with yoga and why you should very strongly consider yoga, I put the priority of it way down on the overall list of everything that you should do. During the base building season, the off season, when you're not training for a specific race, it ranks higher in the priority list. But come race season, if you are a time crunch triathlete and you've got to nix something, we nix mobility pretty quickly. In our plans, once people come back to their baseline training, their general wellness, general fitness training that is going to allow them to stay healthy, to move in and out of races at any point in time, and have longevity as a person and an athlete, we then bring the yoga back in, and there's a time and a place for it. Same sort of concept that we use with strength, that during the off seasons and base building season, more focus on strength. During the race season, less focus on strength. Same with yoga. So those were the 6 main things that I found going through all of those yoga sessions. If you want to check out Helen's channel, you can see one of her videos over here that she's done in conjunction with us. And if you want to get a training plan that is designed for the average adult, everyday amateur triathlete to keep you healthy while also letting you hit your race goals, go to app.mymotive.com. Check it out there. You can try it free for 14 days. And all of this stuff that I'm talking about yoga workouts being designed properly, about yoga workouts coming in and out of the plan at the right point in time, yoga workouts being put into your plan at the right point in the week. It's all automatically done for you there. You get a custom training plan designed for you based off of your goals, based off of your schedule, based off of what your races are that you want to do. And then all you have to do is show up every single day and just do the workouts and you will hit your goals. So with all of that said, if you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs. Stay bendy. So